What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Yeah, I always wanted to say that. Hear. Anyways, it's another episode of notable prisons and the inmates that occupy them. But first things first, I'm gonna need y'all to do me a favor though. Go and get that lighter ready though. Cause there's a lot of people in this episode that got smoked. You feel me? And there's quite a few notable people in this episode. So chill out. Turn that AC on. Get your lighter. Vibe out. Let's go. Anyways, we taking a trip down south to the great country of Texas. Texas. You dig? I almost said Texas, California. But anyways, we're going to the Huntsville State Prison, also known as the Wall Unit. It's a Texas prison located in Huntsville, Texas. It's approximately 54 acres near downtown Huntsville, that is operated by the Correctional Institutions Division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Try to say that 10 times very fast and let me know how that goes. The facility, the oldest Texas state prison, opened in 1849. So this place is older than sliced bread, people. So we're going to have a very interesting list of people. This unit houses the execution chamber of the state of Texas. It is the most active execution chamber in the United States. So that means if y'all do something bad enough, they got room for some more people over there, apparently. Executions since 1982, when the death penalty was reinstated. They've done 575 of them since 1982. Brief little history. The prison's first inmates arrived on October 2nd, 1849. The unit was named after the county of Huntsville. Robert Perkins, and the author of Texas Tough, The Rise of American Prisons Empire, wrote that the unit was within Texas the first public work of any importance. Originally, Huntsville was only for Caucasian Texans. The only penalties available to black African American Texans were whippings and hangings. Yeah, there's some real life back in the day type shit right here, young fly player. Anyways, during the American Civil War, prisoners at Huntsville produced tents and uniforms for Confederate forces at the prison textile factory. After the Civil War ended, Huntsville unit was the only prison in the former Confederate States of America to remain. Perkinson stated that the prison became within the state the first racially integrated public institution. So originally, women in the Texas prison system, they were housed in the Huntsville unit beginning in 1883. Women were housed in the Johnson Farm section, privately owned cotton plantation near Huntsville. During this time, there was some concern that immoral practices may be resorted to in regards to the female prisoners. And there's a damn good chance that there's some things happen that we'll never hear about. Historically, the prison served as the ADSEG headquarters for other state administrative headquarters for the state of Texas prison system and the Texas Department of Corrections. The superintendent and the other executive officers worked in the prison, and all of the central offices of the system's departments and all the permanent records were located in the prison. In 1934, John and Alex Lomax recorded their earliest known recording of This Little Light of Mine when they recorded Jim Boyd of Jacksonville, Texas, singing at prison. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. Yeah. Anyways, people. So, I know what y'all want to see and what y'all here for. Let's get to the inmates. That's where the horns go. If I remember, I'll put some horns here. But hey, fun fact. I have done more reading doing these episodes than I have in my entire life. That's crazy, right? It goes to show, huh? Anyways, we got the one and only Chad Butler, aka Pimp C. You know what I'm saying? One half of that UGK. perhaps one of the top 20 influential artists of all time. Top 10 in Texas, hands down. But anyways, he was transferred to Huntsville from Terrell Unit in Brazoria County, Texas, on the week of his release from the Texas Department of Corrections. But for those of you that's unaware of what he went to jail for, let me tell you a little something about Mr. Pimp C. How what had happened was, back in the day, back in 2000, he was allegedly holding a woman and at gunpoint and threatening to shoot her after a confrontation in a shoe store. Right after they exchanged words for a little bit, he allegedly pushed a gun into her side and said, "B word, I'll shoot you." That's alleged. Before she ran away and informed the police found him. They arrested him. Blah 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 blah. And then he posted bail for like 10 bandicas. That's $10,000 US. And he posted bail, and he was out on bail, and then he violated a probation order, and then pretty much they sent him back, and he was sentenced to 8 years in prison for that. And he tested positive for having his lighter close by. R.I.P. Pimp C, man, for sure. Next up, we have Federico Gomez Carrasco. He's an American drug baron of Hispanic descent, based in Nuevo Laredo. Carrasco, which was he was the most powerful heroin kingpin in South Texas during his prime in the 60s and 70s. But anyways, he has been cited as the biggest and deadliest drug lord on the Texas-Mexico border. So, and what had happened was, hold on, let me give you a little bit more information about Federico. So anyways, he was born in San Antonio, Texas. He was arrested in Guadalajara on September 1972 after being found in possession of 213 pounds of dog food worth over 100 million. Oh, of heroin. 100 million. However, by December 1972, he escaped in Jalisco in a laundry truck after bribing the authorities. He was then arrested in 1973 in San Antonio, surviving 4 gunshot wounds fired at him by the police. He was also charged for killing a police officer and was suspected of murdering at least 47 people from July 24th to August 3rd. That is one hell of a killing spree. He was unsuccessful at escaping from Huntsville during an armed takeover. His attorney, Ruben, attempted to mediate the 11-day siege, the longest in prison history. Carrasco committed suicide after a 10-minute gun battle with law enforcement. So let me tell y'all something about this guy. He lived and he died by the gun. And this is a crazy story that most definitely deserves its own episode. Let me know if you guys want to hear more about Fred Gomez. I shall do my research and deliver y'all a proper episode on him. Next up, we have Henry Ray Clark. So, let me tell y'all players a little something about Henry Ray Clark. All right. He was born in 1936 and died in 2006. He was a folk artist, born in Bartlett, Texas, and he moved to Houston, Texas, where he became a criminal with the street name of the Magnificent Pretty Boy. After a series of drug dealing convictions, he was found guilty of an assault, his third strike in the Texas Three Strikes Law, which sentenced him to 25 years in Huntsville. While in prison, he developed a characteristic of drawing style that involved detailed patterning and line work, and was discovered at a prison art show by William Steen, who sold Clark's work to national and international buyers. Clark died in 2006, the victim of a robbery and a murder in his own home. Damn. You know, that reminds me of, what movie was it that? It might have been American Me or Blood In and Blood Out that I'm thinking of. The dude that had like crazy artwork. But, yeah. But anyways, he was charged with like drug dealing, pimping, and a whole bunch of other hustles, you know. Like, dude was doing a whole lot of shit. But anyways, let's get to Dwayne Dog Chapman. You know, one thing I will say, nothing bad about the guy. I just don't like how, like, whenever there's something going on in the news, people always say, hey, we need to holler at Dog that bounty hunter. Man, wasn't that dude's jurisdiction in Hawaii or something? Like, you know what I mean? How is he going to find someone, like, what? Does he just have magical powers because he's a bounty hunter or something? You know? But, yeah. Anyways, I mean, let me tell you a little something about Dog that y'all might have or might have not known about the guy. In 1976, he was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 5 years in Texas prison. He had been waiting in a getaway car while his friend shot and killed Jerry Oliver in a struggle during a deal to buy cannabis. Chapman served 18 months at the state penitentiary in Huntsville, Texas. He served 18 months? 18 months for being the getaway driver. Man. So, I'm going to move on to the next person. 18 months? Good God. He must have had a damn good dream team of lawyers or something. Was anyone that's watching this remember this case? Was it like big in the news or what? This is interesting. Next up, we have Jack Purvis. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Jack Purvis. Yeah, Jack Purvis. So, in 1940, Purvis was conditionally pardoned from prison, but he quickly broke his parole and was sent back to prison for 6 more years. Some sources claim he did this deliberately because he missed the prison ban. Hold on. He was arrested in 1937, actually, while working as a cook for his involvement in a robbery in El Paso, Texas. He was tried and convicted and sentenced to jail time in Huntsville. While in prison, he directed the rhythmic swingsters, the prison band, and also played piano with them. The band regularly broadcast on the radio. You want to know something else about him? He was also best known as the trumpet player and the composer of Dismal Dan and Dom Georgia Way. He was one of the earliest trumpeters to incorporate the innovations pioneered by the great Louis Armstrong. When there's diamonds in blue, I don't know any. I can't sing with him. Anyway, he also played trombone and on occasion a number of other instruments professionally, including the harp. Next, we have John Wesley Harden. Now, this is something like way back old. I'm talking, you know, dude served from 1878 to 1894. So it's very limited on the information you could find on someone that's way back here. But, you know, judging by his image, you could tell, you could bet your ass that you could bet your last dollar that this dude was a sharpshooter. I tell you, he could probably hit a fucking fly's leg a mile away. Anyways, he was an American Old West outlaw gunfighter and a controversial folk icon. Harden often got into trouble with the law from an early age. He killed his first man at the age of 15. And you know how he did it? He did it from a mile away on a six-shooter riding on the back of a damn horse. No, I'm just kidding. But he did kill someone at the age of 15. And he also claimed it was self-defense. It could have been on the back of a damn horse. Who knows? Next up, we have Anta was a war chief. He was a member of the Kiowa tribe, born around 1820 during the height of the power of the Plains tribes, probably along the Canadian River and the traditional winter campgrounds of his people. Yeah, so there's definitely not much on this person other than that they was a war chief and they took their own life in prison. So, yeah. But here's someone right here. Let's talk about this fellow real quick. SPM, Carlos Coy. He's a rapper, songwriter, founder of Dope House Records, and convicted sex offender. I mean, do y'all want to know more about this man's case? SPM, the rapper from back in the day? All right, I'm going to tell y'all a little something about SPM, the rapper from back in the day that got some scummy ass charges. You know? But anyways, in 2002, he was convicted of aggravated sexual assault of a child and sentenced to 45 years in prison, and is currently serving his sentence in the Ramsey unit in Roshawn, Texas. He is eligible for parole in 2024. He was once at Huntsville, but basically what had happened, he met this girl. He tried to say that she said that he was whatever age, but apparently, basically, dude knew that she was young, and he thought that he was slick, and yeah, they caught up to him, you know. And people with these type of charges on this page, they are considered scummy individuals. So anyone that has these type of charges, just know we have an invisible category for these people. You know, we have the murderers, we got the robbers, you know, the scammers, the trappers, the mafia people, and then we just have the scummy category. You dig? Yeah, that's where he goes. And now it's time to get to the list of people who were executed in Huntsville prison. First up, Ronald and James Aldridge. They were brothers. They killed 3 people and committed numerous armed robberies in Fort Worth, Texas during a crime spree in 1985. If any of you guys remember that, speak on it in the comments. Let me know something. Next up, we have Susan Margaret Sue Basil. She was an American woman who was one of 6 co-defendants convicted in August 1998 of torture and murder of Louis Buddy Muscle, a mentally disabled man who was killed for his life insurance money. She was sentenced to death. And they smoked their ass in 2014. Next up, we have Betty Lou Beets was a murderer and executed in the United States of Texas. She was convicted of shooting her 5th husband, Jimmy Don Beets. Damn. Next, she was executed in 2000. James Eugene Bigby. He was executed in March 2017. Lester Leroy Bauer Jr. was an American man executed for the 1983 murders of 4 men in Grayson County, Texas. He spent 31 years on death row. He was executed at the Texas State Penitentiary in June 2015. Ignacio Cuevas was an 11-day prison uprising. Oh, well, he was involved in that prison uprising for Federico, and they executed him in May 1991. Next, we have Carlos de Luna. He was an American man who was convicted of murder and executed by the state of Texas for killing Wanda Lopez, a 24-year-old gas station employee, just trying to make some money. They executed him in December 1989. George Jefferson Haswell was an American mass murderer and spree killer and serial killer who killed his wife, 8 children, on December 5th, 1926 in Farwell, Texas. He also killed his wife and 3 stepchildren in 1917 in California. Man, that dude's smile looked crazy. It looks even more crazier knowing what the hell he got charged with. Man, they definitely, they torched his ass. They didn't even smoke him. They torched him. Next, Henry Lee Lucas was an American convicted serial killer. Lucas was convicted of murdering his mother in 1960 and 2 others in 1983. He rose to infamy while incarcerated for these crimes when he falsely confessed to approximately 600 other murders. Looks like he wanted to get cooked. Jerry Walter McFadden. He was a serial killer and a sex offender, and they torched him in 1999. Like it's 1999. Next up, we have Ronald OBrien. He was an American man convicted of killing his 8-year-old son on Halloween in 1974 with a cyanide-laced pixie stick. What? Damn. Yeah, they smoked him in 1984. Next, we have James Pastor. He was an American serial killer who murdered at least 3 people in Texas. Oh, so he was partnered up with the other dude I just mentioned. Well, yeah, he got executed in 1989 too. Reginald Perkins was a serial killer who was believed to have murdered up to 6 women in Ohio and Texas between 1980 and 2000, and is convicted of the December 2000 murder of his stepmother. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection. They cooked his ass in January 2009. Next, we have the railroad killer. He was a killer suspected in as many as 23 murders across the United States and Mexico during the 1990s. Some also involved sexual assault. He had become known as the railroad killer because bodies were found near the railroad. And man, that guy's scummy. He was executed in June 2006. We have Tommy Lynn Sells. If Tommy was selling shit, he probably wouldn't have been on death row. He was a serial killer. He was convicted of 1 murder for which he received a death penalty and was eventually executed. Authorities believe he might have committed 22 murders, though. So, dude, man. They executed him in 2014. James Edward Smith was a murderer who was executed for capital murder in Texas. His case garnered attention due to his unusual last meal request. Can you guess what it was? He requested a lump of dirt, and they executed him in 1990. And last, we have Carla Faye Tucker. She was a woman sentenced to death for killing 2 people with a pickaxe during a burglary. She was the first woman to be executed in the United States since Velma Barfield in 1984 in North Carolina. Yo. She's crazy. Good God. With a pickaxe? Like, you just in there just on some hatchet woman shit. Just, sheesh. Well, smoked her ass in 1992. 1998. I mean, not 92. Anyways, I appreciate y'all for watching. Give me some feedback in the comments. Stay tuned for the next episode.